It's a bunch of penises exploding.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Don't want any part of that.
Hope and pray that nothing happened.
I don't need that.
You froze like this.
Oh, yeah.
It makes me lose faith in humanity.
Perfectly understandable.
I'm more conceited.
I've already started.
Too many things.
Did you pick one of those up in Vietnam?
Oh, you did it. You got a double thumbs down.
Welcome to the XYZ podcast. I am Millennial Producer Tony. Joining me as always are our hosts Gen X Brian,
Hello, everybody.
Gen Z Winston,
What do you do?
and for the first time ever, we have our inaugural guest. Welcome, my brother Dave.
Hi.
He doesn't even get a. He doesn't give a label. Is he? It's
Just
is it
Tony's brother?
Is it Gen Z Dave? Is it Gen Alpha Dave?
No,
And he's
Gen
only,
Alpha.
You're only 4 years younger than I am, so I would assume millennial as well.
Millennial Dave.
So Millennial Dave sounds like a derogatory term, though. I mean, I guess I don't mean that, right? It would be a younger millennial. What sets the? Oh gosh, I'm trying to-
Millennials are
Thank you.
81 to 96.
Okay.
So Dave, you are.
Younger millennial.
I was asking for your birth year, but that's fine too. Sure.
And then we're gonna get the last 4 of your social, and then your.
I was asking for the full birthday, just the year.
Well, welcome. This is the first time having a guest on the show. So, as you may or may not know, we have no plan. We just started talking. I was going to see how everybody's doing with the adjustment to daylight saving time. Is it with-
It's
we
nice,
get
right?
rid of
We get an extra hour of sleep? Or
No, not
not
this
So
one.
we lose an hour?
Yeah.
Spring ahead.
I think a couple years ago, I was corrected that it's not daylight savings, even though that sounds much better, but it's daylight saving singular.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are we saving for?
Ben
We're
Franklin.
saving day.
Saving
we have to
electricity.
take it out at some point.
Every year, and my wife's like, why do you keep looking? Every year, and this year, Congress has a proposed bill, I think, but nobody's voted on it. The last couple of years, there have actually been bills that have been like put to the floor, but then, this change doesn't really make anybody any money,
Yeah,
so
it's
it just
'cause they're
kind
too
of
busy
doesn't.
voting on banning TikTok instead.
They're too busy
Or
doing
whatever.
that. Also, they don't do anything normally anyways. It's a big surprise that they're not doing this either.
That's true. You can't. I mean, there's no money to be made. I don't think there's any groups lobbying for the repeal of daylight saving time. And then then there's the argument: do you stay in standard time or do you stay in saving time? I don't know.
That's
But-
Arizona. Arizona just goes, we're not doing that.
That's hilarious. It's so weird to like go from like Vietnam to America where that's a thing because like Vietnam doesn't do daylight saving either. So sometimes when I'm talking to my friends over there, I'm trying to explain the concept of like daylight saving. They're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, honestly, I don't know either.
I think it might be an American thing.
I think it's only America.
I
Yeah.
did some research, which is unusual for the show, but no, is that it started in Germany, and this was during the war to save on energy. Like it started off as a noble cause, but then why we keep doing it, we don't know.
So I was right. When I said saving electricity, I was right.
Yeah. No, you were totally right. You were totally right. You're absolutely right that's what it was initially for. But yeah,
But only America practice it or what?
So I don't know who still does, but it started off as Germany, and then it was talking about how Ben Franklin gets credited with it, and he actually wrote a satirical article on it, and I think that's why he's credited with it. But he was not.
Oh.
He was not the inventor of it. I mean, it made sense in the beginning to shift your hours later when there was more daylight. Every year this happens, I'm like, can we do something about it? I just don't love it. I grew up in Indiana where we did not, like Arizona, did not follow it. But what was weird is I grew up near Chicago. They followed it there. I went to school in central Indiana where they did not. Like any of the towns that were sort of surrounding bordering states that did observe it, they observed it too because it was just easier business wise. You didn't change. So I remember I would be calling home to my parents, and like part of the year they were an hour behind and part of the year we were on the same time. But
Yeah.
I don't know if Indiana finally caved at some point and started following it or what. Now that I live where I live every year, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I think everybody shares the sense. Nobody does in the fall because you get the extra hour of sleep, but in the
Right.
spring, everybody's kind of annoyed with it. But am I the only one drinking here, by the way?
Yes,
Cheers,
you
everybody.
are an alcoholic. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not drinking anything.
No?
No.
Dave, I think that was a soda you had.
Yep.
How long was the trip down here
Yeah.
from PA?
I think it took me like 12 hours total.
Did you go straight through? I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
it-
stop to
it
pee, but I
stops-
mean,
yeah, it stops for that gas, but yeah, just drove straight down.
man, 12 hours is tough. I mean, I've done it before, but man, 12 hours that's really,
Yeah, it sounds awful.
yeah. Did you bone up on the show? Did you listen to the entire season of the podcast? It's okay. I know what these guys are going to talk about. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
He's preparing, right? But
Well,
before
Dave-
we do go on, though,
I was going to say, Dave has listened to the whole show.
yeah.
So we appreciate
caught
your
up,
devoted
right?
fandom. You and now a dozen plus people in Saskatchewan. So we're
I think
we're
it's
great.
one person. We got 15 downloads from whoever's up there, and we salute you.
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to
Great White North.
shout out to them. Yeah, what?
Our neighbors to
Yeah.
the north, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say though, before we do go on, I do have to give credit where it's due to all of the Dune fan out there. I was wrong. I'm so sorry about what I've said. The movie is the greatest piece of media I've ever created.
Oh my gosh.
I am now a Dune glazer, as they call it, as the kids
What?
call it.
What is
Listen,
a Dune
man,
glazer?
Ah,
He's now part of the Bene Gesserit. And
no, I
These
am
words
not.
that don't make any sense. Does Dune glazer have anything to do with the popcorn bucket? Because I don't want
No,
to hear about it if it does.
Well, sort of. Glazer. Okay, this is a topic within the topic itself. Glazer is a Gen Z term.
of course it is.
Yeah, for when somebody is, I don't want to say obsessed with. It's when they're dick riding something. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
Why
like,
wouldn't you just say
oh,
Stan? Does that not apply to movies, or is that only music?
No. Stan is all right.
Oh.
Glazing is on top. It's just you're going above and beyond to praise this. Anyway, I saw part 2 in theater. It's amazing. I can't hate on it anymore. I believe in the Lisan Al Gaib and all that. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
I'm going to go ahead and say you're just saying words. I'm assuming
Well,
that has
Lisan
something to do
Al
with the
Gaib
movie.
is from the movie, so that's
Okay.
why. But
Yeah, okay, as long as you're not being radicalized, because that's what it sounds like.
well, I mean, that's what the movie is about, right? It's getting radicalized. But regardless, though, I do want to say if you got, I've told Tony to watch the movie, and he's tempted to go and start the first one. I've told you the movie, you should also go and
I
watch
told
it.
you I saw the one in the 80s, and the effects
Well, that one
were
sucks.
iffy.
No, that one sucks. I saw a clip of that one too. That one's terrible.
But
Don't worry
no.
about that.
Brian's not doing. He's good.
Yeah, I mean, did it win any Academy Awards or Oscars? That just happened last night.
It just
No,
came out. Part
it
2
just came out. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it
next
wasn't.
year.
It wasn't eligible. Part 1 didn't win for anything.
Part
4
one
years ago?
yeah, that was.
Oh, see, my timeline for movies is so skewed. I mean, it's I don't watch anything in real time, which is unfortunate. But I still haven't gotten around to seeing Barbie. I hear that's great.
That's on my short list too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing I was gonna say to Brian is you should totally, and people that are listening, and even Dave, you guys should totally like join me and Tony on Letterbox. It's a. Have you heard of this app, Brian? Letterbox.
Now, no, I have not. But I'm going to go ahead and play the game we always play.
Okay.
I'm going to guess.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
Does
Well,
Letterbox?
Dave, Letterboxd?
Dave, do you know what Letterbox is?
Yeah.
I should include him because he is the younger
Right.
millennial to see if
That's
I'm just
fair.
not the clueless one.
Can you go ahead and play the music from?
Bum, bum, ba-dum. Bum, bum, ba-dum.
I'm assuming it's like anonymous questions because I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. So Letterbox. Is this something that turns your TV into Letterbox to make it look like you're viewing it in the theater? I
No.
thought we already got no.
No.
That's a good guess.
It's close. You kind of around it, but it's not.
Don't say that. No.
It's close enough, but no. Do you want me to explain to you what?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I don't
go
know what
ahead.
that means. Yeah, in what context? Is it an app? Is it a?
It's an
Yes.
app. So Letterbox
Okay.
is an app. Okay, so Letterbox is a movie rating app. Me and Tony, I've gone into it because my friends are on it, and I've gotten Tony to cave in. So essentially, where every time you watch a movie, you can go on the app and log that movie, and you can rate it from 1 to 5 star.
This is
and you
Rotten
can
Tomatoes.
Yes, but it's more like a social media than Rotten Tomato. Rotten Tomato is
Rude.
it's yeah.
Okay, well then Dave's was closer than mine. Then you're just submitting your reviews, right?
Yes.
But instead of it's all falling into one big group and then it gives you here's the whole audience rating.
Yeah,
You just
It's
go see
individual
what your
rating.
friends are doing and say
exactly. Yeah.
So
a little more personalized.
Yeah.
you know how I
but-
do it though? We get on here and we talk about movies. I don't need to then just pick up my phone and be like, "Hey, this movie,"
But that's the fun part is you don't have to give actual review. My
The fun
review
part is you don't have to interact with other humans if you don't
Exactly.
want.
Exactly. You just say thing and kind of like you're screaming into the void with your movie reviews in this.
Well, like you're screaming at your friends. Yeah.
It's Tony's fast food experience for Winston's movie viewing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like
the less other people involved, the better.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's funny because, I can just go watch whatever movie I want and then proceed to just say whatever I feel about it. It's amazing. It's just like, if people like what I say, sure, that's cool. But if they don't, it's,
You realize this is what people do in real life.
But I want people to know about my opinion, because in real life,
you told me your opinion. You said Doom 2.
But that's because you right. But that's because you know me in real life. If you didn't know me in real life, or you haven't seen me in a while, how are you going to know what my thoughts are on Doom 2?
I can go.
now you can do it by going on Letterboxd.
See, Winston doesn't have a movie blog. Okay,
correct me if I'm wrong. There's no voting on. It's like, oh, Winston put his review of Dune 2 up, but I can't go on there and be like, oh, I like that, or
you can.
or anything.
You can. Yeah, you can. You can like and you can reply on it. Like, I could have replied.
I kind of liked if you couldn't, where it's just like, and here's what I have to say, and screw whatever you think.
The reason why I say I like that is because you can go on, like, say, a certain movie, and you can sort the review by highest rated, and it's always the funniest comment known to man on the movie. And that's why I like it. Tony used it for a little bit, and he immediately texts me and goes, yeah, this app sucks. Like, I mean, not that it sucks.
Maneuvering around is horrible. It's a good concept, but not the UI. No.
My immediate response to it was, you can clearly tell a bunch of film bros made this. It's the layout's terrible.
Well, okay, so I'm just confused though. What is the point of that? It's
just a social media version of film reviews.
Right.
Okay.
And you can keep log of everything you have seen and, have not seen and whatnot.
That's what I think I'm going to end up using it mostly for, keeping track of what I've seen and my thoughts on it. I don't care about, like, I'll go see what Winston's watching and saying, but otherwise I generally don't care about other people's opinions on it.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
Winston says Empire Strikes Back sucks. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, that's funny because Tony texted me one day, like, in the middle of the night. He goes, okay, you convinced me. I made an account. And then he just sent me his username, and I, like, searched it. And I saw that he finally reviewed his first movie, like he had just watched the same night. And what was it called, Tony?
My wife convinced me to watch. She goes, it's the #1 movie on Netflix right now. And I'm like, that means dog dirt to me. So we ended up watching this movie called Damsel with Millie Bobby Brown. And it's this fantasy movie. It was not good. Which made me realize that Netflix can just go, it's the #1 Netflix movie on Netflix, and we can say whatever we want because we own it and we made it.
Streaming numbers up for this one.
That's it. They go, listen, this one's gonna do real bad, but if we say it's #1, nobody can argue that.
Somebody will watch it.
We don't have to show them our numbers. It was like a 13-year-old wrote the script. It was not great.
So, Dave, do you get out to the theaters much to watch movies?
No, not at all. If it's not Star Wars or Marvel, I do not go to the theater for anything.
Okay, so you're very much in that camp. Okay, so I just watched The Marvels this weekend.
How did you feel about it?
I want to get Dave's opinion before I share mine.
I loved it, but the original Captain Marvel is my favorite Marvel superhero. I have a tattoo based on the original Captain Marvel.
Wow.
I love Captain Marvel.
Okay,
I thought it was awesome.
What about Miss Marvel?
She's fine. Like, I like her. I think she kind of carried the movie, but she's fine.
My daughter, who I watched it with, she thought the Miss Marvel character was trying too hard to connect with the younger kids. Like, she felt like it was kind of pandering. The girl power Marvels was a little contrived, which I thought was kind of interesting. I'm like, yeah, but they kind of kick ass. I thought it was. Yeah. They had
really good combo-wambo in that movie. I'll tell you that. Like, like when they were like triple teaming,
that was pretty cool. The cats scarf down the people to evacuate them. I had a little problem with that. That was a little cheesy, but But then again, I thought, well, I need to stop looking at it. This is a comic book movie.
Yes,
I should look at it as such. And then that I'm like, okay, well, that's actually pretty funny. But yeah, that is probably one of the most recent movies to release that I've watched, just because it was suddenly on Disney. So
what was the most recent movie that you've seen, Dave?
Probably actually the Marvels, honestly. Yeah, probably the Marvels when it came out in
That's
theaters.
hilarious. I was gonna say before we move on, I finally gone through and actually finished all of the Harry Potter series. So the people,
Yes, I did want to bring this up. Everybody has eras now. The podcast is officially in its Harry Potter era.
Yeah,
oh, jeez, yeah.
We're Potter heads around here.
When did the last movie? When did that come out?
2012, if I have to guess.
Okay, so I'm never gonna feel bad about watching a movie way after it's come out.
2011.
Oh, 2011. Okay. I don't know, man.
13 years ago, man. 13 years ago.
Listen, it's good. I like it. I was a hater, the same way I hated Dune. Now I'm like, I'm a Harry Potter glazer. You know what I'm saying?
And you see, you think that you might be a Paula Abdul hater, but you might be a Paula Abdul glazer. You gotta try it out.
Did we even talk about Paula Abdul? I thought we were talking about Jeanette Jackson last time.
Yes, we did talk about Jeanette Jackson.
Jeanette
for a little bit.
Is it not Jeanette? It's Janet Jackson.
Oh my gosh, man.
It's Miss Jackson if you're nasty. But man, how do you not know Janet Jackson?
Again, man, I grew up in Vietnam.
It's Michael Jackson's sister.
That's all I knew her as is Michael Jackson's sister.
Clearly, Jeanette. Yes, his sister Jeanette.
Let me steer us in a direction here, as I sometimes
not that I want to
do.
rehash Janet Jackson, but still,
No.
I mean, come on.
If we're bullying Winston, I want to talk about. Let's all go back to our grade school days, and let's talk about some.
How'd you know I was bullied in grade school? Huh?
Good old-fashioned in-person bullying. Whether you did it or you received it, I want to talk about bullying.
All right, so here's a real question, Brian. Were you bully or were you a bully?
Statute of limitations.
No, come on. Let's paint a picture here, and this will answer the question without even answering the question. So in
close your eyes. Yeah. Imagine yourself upside down in Brian's arms, head over the toilet, about to get a swirly. I'm right there.
Give me your lunch money, dweeb.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Let's go back to, I don't know, sophomore year is in high school. I was the kid who had the skater bangs over the one eye, the waterfall hairdo over one eye.
Geez.
I wore combat boots. And and had
you had the Columbine fit going, Brian. That's awful.
Definitely Columbine vibe minus the shotguns.
Oh, geez.
Listen to The Cure, listen to the Smiths. So I can't say that I was the one doing the bullying. It is funny though, because I was a big fan of Nine Inch Nails when they first came out, and on the side of my combat boots, as any kid would, I emblazoned the NIN logo on the side and got made fun of for that. But it was really kind of hilarious because 2 to 3 years later, suddenly Nine Inch Nails was cool for everybody to like. So I wasn't bullied in the sense of like getting, but I definitely had, comments thrown my way, but I was in the very, F you, I'm going to do whatever I want to mentality. So yeah, it's, but I definitely didn't do the bullying. One time I did get bullied in high school though, not bullied, but almost got my ass kicked. So I went to a predominantly white high school. And when I say predominantly, I mean almost exclusively white.
When we mean almost, we mean yes.
Yes.
Only white.
Yeah. Well, one week a transfer student came in, and it was a black kid from a different town who'd moved there. And whatever, like it was no big deal, but obviously some people in the school had a problem with it. And I remember you'd be walking down the halls and there were so many kids, you're sort of in packs. And I remember being by this kid, and what this other dude, this tall Hispanic dude, like was making comments. And I made
about
some
the black kid.
Yeah. And I made some snide comments, back because I was a smart ass. I definitely ran my mouth more than, I could back it up. And I remember after school one day, this dude came up to me. His name was Russ. And he like pushed me up against a car and he's like, "What were you saying earlier?" And I was just like, that was ridiculous. Why do you got to say things?
Was he older than you or was he your age?
He was, I think we were in the same grade. And yeah, I mean, but he was like, he was a big dude. He like pushed me up against this car and I'm like, "Why are you saying things? You're a minority too." Cause he was and he cocked back his fist like he was going to hit me.
Yeah.
And then he's like, man, you ain't even worth it, and kind of walked away. And
In his head, he was like, "Ah, shit, he's right."
yeah, he like. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I called his bluff, but I probably would have got my ass kicked. But I just kind of stood there like, what are you doing? And I guess he realized we ended up being fine, like, and even like joking like later in the school year. But that was, but no, I did not bully, nor I got a lot of things said to me, but I also had the F you, I don't really care attitude. So I don't think it didn't scar me.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I got mine. I'll tell you guys.
Who wants to take next?
I have a healthy disrespect for authority, but that's fine.
I was on both sides of the coin. So like I was bullied and I also got bullied, but it's different continents. Like when I was in Vietnam, I was a bully and I got to America and then I got bullied. So I was like, damn. That's crazy.
Was it based on stature? Like you were a pretty tall guy in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, no, it's like
okay.
Good
old fashioned racism.
I went to a predominantly Asian school where it was only Asian kids. It was all Vietnamese kids. So funny enough, like over here in America, at least you have like transfer students who would be like, of different background, different, color and ethnic or whatever. That's not a thing in Vietnam. We're all just Vietnamese. We all look the same. I think this is fine to talk about. It was like no police came or anything, but it was like
what we judge it by, right?
I beat a kid so bad his tooth fell out.
Oh, dang. So you got in actual fist fights.
No, I was just bullying him. He didn't fight back. So
but you were beating on him. You got in a physical altercation?
Yeah, just for shits and giggles though. But anyway, it's so okay. To be fair, I was like, yeah, losers, we're going shopping. But no, okay, so there was this kid, his name we'll call him Quan. And Quan was
I can't tell if that's racist or not, but continue.
No, his name was actually Quan. Yeah.
So let's just call him by his name.
That's why we'll call him Quan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Quan was he was all right. He
did not know Taekwondo.
No, he did not. But I don't remember what it was, but it was just like he always irritated me so much as a kid. So like I remember we were in the 3rd grade and like we had like school was already out and we were all about to go home, but instead like me, Quan, and a bunch of my other friends were just kind of hanging out. And I can't remember what happened, but I just remember like I still vividly remember like him laying on the floor. I'm holding his shirt with one of my hand in the air like this. And he turns over and one of his tooth fell out and his mouth was just bloody.
Were you punching him?
I guess so, right?
I guess so. He went into a blind rage.
Winston woke up from like a
you guys ever seen Moon
primal
Knight?
Rage.
Yeah, you guys ever seen Moon Knight? That was me. Like I kind of just snapped back then. I was like,
I'm thinking a Christmas Story where he goes to town on him.
Yeah, no, like something happened. Something took over. Anyway, I then came back to it, and I remember I'm holding him like by his shirt like this, and one of my hands in the air, and his mouth is just covered in blood. And I'm like, dude, what happened? I'm so sorry. So I was like, I picked up his tooth and everything. I'm like, here you go. And
here you go, Tooth Fairy.
Yeah. And so took it with him, and like I took him to the bathroom. He washed out like all the blood and whatnot. And
wait, you beat this guy up and then you helped clean him up?
Yeah.
This is such a weird story.
This kid's so confused. She's like, I don't know if he hates me or he wants to be my friend.
Yeah, I remember like picking him up and then walking him to like the bathroom, and then like he's like rinsing his mouth out and you just see blood coming out at this point. But remember, because we are kids, like he probably had a baby teeth at the time or a baby teeth.
Okay, so how old are you when this is happening?
We were in like 2nd or 3rd grade.
Oh, geez,
yeah, we were young. Things were
like a future homicidal maniac.
Yeah, but I'm very normal now, guys. It was somebody took over my body at the time. Anyway, so then he went home, whatever, and then the very next day I went to school, and it's like his mom totally came in and talked to the principal, and they like pulled me out.
I thought you were going to say the next day we didn't see him and he never came back.
Yeah, we got him. They
we didn't know if Quan was real or not.
No, but yeah,
Club situation, huh?
So yeah. So then Quan's mom came in, talked to the principal. I don't remember what happened, but I think I might have just ended up like apologizing, and they just kind of swept it under the rug.
But I cleaned him up, like
yeah. But the funniest part about all of this is me and Quan ended up being really good friends with each other like afterwards. Like we were just super cool with each other. I was like, damn man, I didn't know you were this chill, bro. Like
Winston
Didn't know you
beat
were
the
cool like
snot
that.
out of this kid, then patched him up and went, "You remember this forever."
Yeah.
And then
And
he
now-
was so confused where he's just like, I better get on this guy's good side.
Yeah.
Or if he snaps, I want him in my corner.
So where's
So-
Quan now? Do you like
Quan's
so
still in Vietnam. I don't talk to him. I haven't seen him ever since
you guys
I
don't
moved
hook up
to
when
the
you go
US.
back home?
No, it's funny. Like my mom, the last time I went back to Vietnam, my mom was like, "Why don't you go see your friend, like Quan and them?" And I'm like, I don't have nothing to talk to them about. And like a lot of my friends who were, my best friend at the time are now like married over there, and
Yeah.
they're like, yeah. And I'm just like, I can't talk to them.
Is
like
Quan
you guys-
married?
Quan is not. I don't know what Quan's up to. But I will say this. Quan was the very first person to introduce me to the Clone Wars series. He was obsessed with the Clone Wars. He was obsessed with Star Wars. He had a big ass Lego set of like the Star Destroyer. I don't know, something. But it was some Star Wars related ship. Quan ended up being really cool. We play games with each other. We hang out and we go over each other's house all the time.
After you beat him up. That's so weird.
Yeah, but then I moved to the US and then like I got bullied to the point where I was crying. Ooh, man, American kids, ooh, they're terrible. They call me
Yeah.
Dirty Yellow on like my third day in school.
Oh man.
I was like in tears just sitting in class. Yeah, it was just awful. It was more like name calling. Like I'm like, if you beat me, it's whatever. But it's like, okay, you're stronger than me. You beat me. I give up. But it's like name calling. Come on, man. It was messed up. Like it was all like just racial like undertone is all it
Yeah.
is. But it's like your situation, Brian, where it was another minority calling minority name is just like, dude, what's happening right now?
Yeah, it doesn't
Um,
make any sense.
It was this Hispanic kid. He called me Dirty Yellow, like just all day. And it got to the point where I was like, that's so messed up. And I was just sitting there in tears. I was like, this sucks, man. Like, what the hell? Funny enough, like Juan, me and that kid became friends for all of high school. Like he came to my house and picked me up for school in the morning. And
I think
whatnot.
Winston just has an unusual way of making friends. That's what it
Yeah,
sounds
it's like,
like.
it's like, yeah, you gotta feel the pain before we could really be friends.
But no
We need
physical
to go
altercations.
through emotional trauma
Yeah.
in order to bond.
Yeah.
Bond.
Yeah,
it's the
exactly.
bond,
It's like, you
right?
know how back in the day they cut their hand and then,
Yeah.
it's like a blood bond. Yeah, it's an emotional trauma bond is what
Oh,
it is.
geez. So
Yeah.
that makes me think Tony and Dave got the crap kicked out of them, or they kicked the crap out of somebody. I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
sure.
what I was gonna say.
This might be two different sides of a coin. I was going to transition it from. I've told the story before. I want to set the record straight. Talking about the first few days of school,
The bus stop story? Is that what
Well-
you're referring to?
they went outside for a fire drill.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
let's-
that's
let,
right,
Let
that's
him
right,
say
yeah.
no. Let him tell the story.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Dave,
It
So
is.
this- Let me preface it by saying
Do a
this is
recap,
referring back
right?
to
Yeah.
to if I recall correctly. It was the first couple days a week of school, and there was somebody told a young Dave to go up to somebody and
In fifth
punch
grade,
them.
right? It was a fifth grader, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
it was.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave, you were what in what grade?
Kindergarten.
5 or 6 years old. Okay. So, yes, as told by your brother, it was that somebody told you to go up and punch a 5th grader.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
did
with
that
being
happen?
said, okay,
Yeah.
no, I want to hear the full story. I want to hear the full
Okay.
story. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
I mean, that's pretty much the whole story. A kid said, I bet you won't punch him. And I went up and slugged the kid. And the kid looked and saw a 6-year-old and went, nothing I can really do here.
Oh, he
Now,
knew he had enough presence of mind to not strike you back.
apparently, I didn't get hit. So maybe he was intimidated. I don't know.
He was just shocked at what just happened. He was still in shock at that moment.
How hard did you hit him? I mean, 6 years old.
Probably as hard as a 6-year-old could hit. So
Did you slug him in the nuts or in the gut or where? I imagine you were shorter.
I don't remember that. It was just on his person.
my head canon about this whole story this whole time was that Dave came up to this 5th grader and just kind of like waved him down, and in the moment the 5th grader bent over, just socked him right in the face. Like that had always been in my head. What happened? It's just like getting punched in the nuts. That's a low blow, quite literally. But you know,
Did you get in trouble?
I honestly, again, couldn't say. I spent most of my time in elementary school in the principal's office, so I got in trouble a lot. Yeah.
Oh, so probably.
which means I want to hear some more stories.
Okay. Now, so that story happened in kindergarten, but it wasn't early. It was like later in the year.
Okay.
So now the second day of kindergarten this isn't so much a bullying story as it is, there was a fire drill and they told everybody, hey, come on back in. And I said, I don't want to go back in. I'm not going back in. So they had to bring the principal out and call my mom. And my
You
mom
were just
was
standing
like,
outside?
yeah, I'm like, I'm not going back in. And my mom had to know because I got in trouble in preschool all the time for bullying and hitting kids. But she's probably like, this already.
How tall are you? I can't really tell. We're all sitting down.
Maybe slightly shorter than Tony, like half an inch shorter. So 5'8", 5'9", somewhere around there.
Okay, so you
So
were
around my
super,
height, yeah.
super tall child going around kicking people's ass.
Nope. Just I don't even know what it was. It was just very angry. I don't know.
I know you've got other stories though.
Clearly, he's trying to steer you towards one story.
No, literally.
No, we're gonna get one of these stories
Hear this
out
story
because I want to
now.
hear it.
Obviously,
again.
Tony's got one locked and loaded. I
Yeah.
got to hear this one from Dave.
So I know there's one in preschool that there was a bunch of rubber dinosaurs that were real cool. Everybody wanted to play with them, and I didn't want to share. So upon being told, hey, go give these to this other kid, I went and delivered them and swung it at him like a baseball bat and hit him in the head and then gave him the toy. Yeah, that got me my desk right up beside the teachers for most of the rest of the year.
Oh my gosh. Well, wait a second. So, okay, there's three of you, right? Tony, you're the oldest. Dave, you're the middle child, and you have a younger sister, right?
Correct.
So if I'm psychoanalyzing this across the screen, it sounds like Tony was an older brother who beat the crap out of his younger brother, who then retaliated to school. Is that true?
Well, I can't say there wasn't a lot of wrestling in the favor of Dave couldn't fight back against the stronger older brother.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, 1 year old, you can't do anything.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I'm the older child. I have a younger brother. And I was talking about how when we would get, not necessarily my brother and I, but like friends, we watched the first Karate Kid movie and we go and kick the crap out of each other. So I mean, there was a lot more physical, especially I think with boys, violence as children.
Yeah, I don't think me and Dave really fought like that all that much. We'd like wrestle around and
right. I mean,
we were pretty good. We were pretty good friends from the get-go. Dave's not answering, so no,
Dave's this guy's full of shit. He's just
he's fun.
You've only been getting one side of the story. Here's the scoop.
But no, what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to detract from the story that apparently where Dave probably lit a school on fire or something. What's
I was going to tell a story about whenever Tony bullied me whenever we were little.
Okay, let's hear this.
So
I still can't walk right.
The story as told by my grandmother is we're living at her house. I'm like a year old. Tony would be 5. I'm sitting in the high chair in the kitchen. Tony walks out the hall. My mom's feeding me. Tony just smacks me in the chest for no reason.
Do you remember this? Do you have it?
I was like, I was little.
Okay.
I remember it.
Okay.
That's hilarious. Jeez, man.
Maybe I can
so the unprovoked violence came from the older brother. That makes sense. Yeah. Oh man. Tony,
I've got a couple stories that I got in mind now, but Dave, I want to hear the story from middle school. It involved stomping. You were wearing flip-flops. There were bleachers.
Man, we weren't allowed to wear flip-flops or sandals in school. We didn't have a dress code, but like that was not allowed. I remember that was distinctly not allowed.
You guys live in Indiana where it's cold as hell. You get frostbite wearing flip-flops.
I mean, they're in Pennsylvania. We're about the same line of latitude, right?
Yeah,
that's fair.
I don't remember even what prompted that. It was a kid said something to me and I threw him down the bleachers in the gymnasium.
Holy shit.
And then, stomped on his head with my flip-flops on 2 or 3 times.
Man, good thing you did not have combat boots like me in high school.
That's exactly what I said.
So it's a good thing you could wear flip-flops, or there would have been damage.
Man,
yeah.
What grade was that?
You thought I was bad, Brian.
Yeah, man.
8th, I think. 8th
Okay,
grade.
I mean that's an angsty age. Okay, so we were talking about on the last podcast, we were talking about Sugar Ray. So what were you listening to in 8th grade?
I was listening to Dead Kennedys and a lot of old British boy bands and punk bands.
Gotcha.
And that was my middle school a lot.
Gotcha. Same here. And then that was in my very hardcore skater days. But then I had older friends that lived down the block, and they were giving me a ride to school. And then that's where I entered into more what Tony's sweet spot is, the hair metal. Your White Lions, your Rack, Docking, yes, all
Yeah.
those. So
These are all foreign terms.
yeah. British oil bands. I know Winston was like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
I did not get that word in English. Yeah.
Sometimes this anger was directed towards me. We had this like little easel chalkboard. Something was going on. We are having an argument, and Dave just picked this thing up and swung it at me.
Man,
It's the only time that I felt indestructible because I put my arm up in front of my face and this thing just snapped like balsa wood over my forearm. And we both just looked at each other and we're like, that was cool as crap. I'm not even angry anymore. That was freaking awesome.
You know what's so funny? I have an exact experience just like you. It wasn't so much like somebody swung something at me and I kind of broke it with my arm. But if you guys remember our buddy Andrew, like you both know Andrew, right? Yeah. When we were in 8th grade in middle school, me and again, another friend of mine who we used to like hate each other. So weird. That I'm starting to see a pattern. Maybe
clearly Winston's not likable immediately. Tony, I don't remember beating his ass when we met him.
You gotta go through trial by fire.
Is going to result in his new best friend.
Yeah. It's like trial by fire. You gotta be able to beat me to become my friend. I remember. Am I frozen?
Nope.
I'm lagging. On my screen, I'm lagging.
You are lagging in the conversation. Yeah.
Okay. I'll keep talking until I disappeared here. So I remember like our buddy Andrew and I, when we were in middle school, we for whatever reason like hated each other. God, like we were constantly at one another. And I remember
like he's like the nicest guy on the face of the planet. He's 6 foot like 5.5 and a big dude, but he's the nicest guy ever.
And he's always been a huge kid. Like even in 8th grade, he was at 6 foot. And I remember
he was the Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant, yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Like me and him kind of just bump head all the time. One day he had said something to me, and as I was walking away, he like put his hand on my shoulder. And for whatever reason, I don't know what happened, but I grabbed his hand and I just flipped him over my shoulder.
Like a judo move.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. And you know how big Andrew is. And for people that don't know our friend Andrew, now he's like 6'5" at least, right? He's 6'5", 6
He's pretty tall.
He's much taller than you and bigger than you.
Yeah, and I would have been maybe 5'8". And I've somehow managed to just flip giant Andrew over my shoulder.
Andrew the Giant, that's what we're going to call him.
Yeah, Andrew the Giant. And honestly, like, I don't know if this is if it was real or if it was in a dream. I might have to call Andrew to confirm this, but
we're going to have him on as a guest to refute all of your stories.
Right? So he fell on the floor and he got up and was like, dude, that's freaking cool as hell. I was like, dude, that's what I'm saying. And we just dab each other up and that was it. The beef was squashed. And then when we got into like high school and college, we became a lot closer through our comic book movies. But yeah,
man,
yeah,
both of your stories remind me of like what watched a lot of WWF. I mean, now it's WWE or whatever. So the OGs with Junkyard Dog, Hulk Hogan, who else? The Iron Sheik, which would probably be insensitive now if that guy's not actually from Iran or whatever. But
it was WWC and WCW?
I don't know.
Or WWF
and the WCW. WB, I believe, right? Yeah,
WB. No, because there was two separate leagues. Dave, you know wrestling.
WCW, ECW, WWF.
Okay, so WWF was the first one, and they literally started having toys on. You could buy each character was a character. Junkyard Dog, Iron Sheik, Hulk Hogan. Who else?
Andre the one where the Von Erichs were on, or no?
No, that was I think
Ultimate Warrior.
No, see, yeah, okay, that's later. Yeah, I'm talking like the old guy wrestling.
Okay.
Fun sidebar about Hulk Hogan. One time I was at the beach in Florida. Can't remember what beach, but Hulk Hogan came cruising by on a yacht, a mini yacht, speedboat.
That's freaking weird.
It just looks small because he was on.
so much so that they like zipped by and were like, "That was Hulk Hogan, right? Like that was weird, right? This is the '90s, so this is past his super wrestling heyday. But everybody knew who Hulk Hogan was. And then he came back by again, and you're like, that was totally Hulk Hogan on a boat. It was totally weird, totally random. But yeah, I saw it happen somewhere in Florida. Random.
Let me ask. Go back to, we're talking old school wrestling. Let's talk old school bullying. Anybody have experience with? I had a list being pantsed.
I've
Got a pants story?
Well, I've got a discussion about pantsed in general, but okay, let's get the list first.
Let me get my list. Pantsed, noogies, swirlies, wedgies. Everything ended in E.
Right. Yeah.
But
that's how you know.
So being pants is where they pull your pants down, right?
Right.
Yes.
So my wife and I have had extensive discussions about this. At my school, and I should probably consult with some older schoolmates to see if I'm wrong in my remembrance, we called it depantsing.
which makes more sense.
Right. But she insists that it was pantsed, and I was like, I really think we called it depantsing. And that was Winston, where, you start wearing sweatpants and suddenly, a guy will come up behind you and pull down your sweats and you are depantsed. Therefore, you're standing there in your underwear like a buffoon.
Yeah,
If you're lucky, if you didn't grab both layers.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, I got pants by my cousins.
Did you call it depantsed or did you call it pantsing? Tony's calling it pantsing, and that bolsters my wife's argument that it was called pants.
We just call whatever it was in Vietnamese, but yeah, like
what is it? Tell me what it is in Vietnamese.
Do quang.
Do quang?
Do quang, yeah.
Do quang.
Yeah, it means pull the pants. Yeah.
Pull the pants.
Yeah. And so like it happened to me all the time with my cousins as a kid, like because I was the youngest one in the family. Like sometimes I would just walk around and they'll just whoop all the time.
I think the key though is in school, in front of your peers and social situations to get the full.
I would kill myself now. Yeah, no, that's awful.
I guarantee you, I'll have to ask my kids on this one, but I guarantee that doesn't happen anymore. That was a regular occurrence in high school when I was going.
There'd be news articles if people were getting cast.
Exactly.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and of course, inevitably, somebody would have it on film. 6 people would have it on film.
Yeah.
And when I mean film, I mean digital ones and zeros, because nobody has anything on film. Okay.
Then you're charged with having material that you're not supposed to have. Yeah.
Dave, pantsed, ever depantsed, pants, depantsed?
I got depantsed by like water in a swimming pool, jumping out, and my swim trunks weren't tight.
No,
that's it.
Yeah, that's self depantsing or self pantsing. So Tony, you call it pantsing though, right? You're calling it pantsing.
I call it. I've nothing I've ever experienced, but I just know it's a
pantsing. All
classic bully tactic.
In my school, it wasn't as much as a bullying tactic as like, haha, you wore sweatpants and you got caught doing it. It was more of a. I don't think it was exclusively bullying in my school.
Okay,
but your introduction of those words puts my wife in the win column for that discussion.
Well, this leads me. I've already given the list, so let's play the game with Winston. Winston, what's a noogie?
Okay. A noogie? Is that a wet willy?
It's not a derogatory term towards an ethnic group.
I mean, in the sense that it's mean. Yes, it has to do with your head.
Oh, is that where they dump your head in the toilet?
No, that's a swirly.
That's the next one. So you got swirly.
So I got that one out.
No, a noogie is where you get often in a headlock and then somebody takes their knuckle and rubs it along your scalp really hard. That's a noogie.
No, I've never had that. No.
Okay. Tony, we know what's coming next.
Wedgie, yes. Wedgie is where they pull your underwear up all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
An atomic wedgie, if they can then hang you from something.
Hang it, right.
Or over your head.
Oh, geez.
Yes, right. That's the atomic wedgie.
Yeah. Never experienced that either. That has to be like an 80s thing. For sure,
it is portrayed in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, there were people. I'm sure I've gotten wedgied, but that was more of a like amongst friends. Like you would, if anybody caught it, you would get that. The atomic wedgie was fully bullying. I don't think that's ever happened to anybody.
When bro fell asleep first at the sleepover, so you're gonna give him an atomic wedgie.
Yeah, that was that you got written on at that point. That was a lot, and then the hand in the water to see if they'd pee their pants. But I can assure you, I was never the kid that fell asleep first at the sleepover. That was never me.
See, my sleepover at a friend's house meme is not that. My sleepover at a friend's house is your friend whose house you're at falls asleep first and doesn't tell everybody else where like the blankets and pillows are. So everyone's sleeping with like under a yoga mat or it's just some dude under like, Good Housekeeping magazines because that's the only thing you had to keep warm.
Anything to keep warm.
I got you guys beat on that one. You guys know, our buddy JR, and when we had a sleepover at his house, we slept in his basement, and for whatever reason, he turned the air all the way down at night, so it was real cold.
Sleeping in a cave.
Yeah, so and we were laying on tile floor at that,
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So the way I kept warm was I scooch
You
close
snuggled
enough
with
to his
JR?
No, no, no. I scooch close
Spooning.
enough. Yeah, I scooch close enough to the sofa and just tuck myself under his sofa, and that was how I kept warm throughout the night. But yeah,
Whatever works. So,
Yeah.
okay, question. Did you guys have to take naps well, did you go to preschool, first of all?
Who, me or
Any of you around the room? Anybody go to preschool?
yeah?
I did.
Okay.
I apparently did. I was too young to remember. Apparently, I bit some girl on the face.
Hey, you must have liked her.
Geez.
I did, however, go to Dave's preschool.
What is Dave's preschool? That sounds like Uncle
I
Touchy's
was
puzzle basement.
too
That sounds
old.
scary.
I was too old, and it was like during summertime. And my mom's like, "Look, I got two kids. One of them's going to preschool. I guess the other one's going with them."
That's hilarious.
And there were days that I just hung out with Dave.
I'm his guardian / chaperone / spiritual support animal. Did you have to take naps in preschool? That's actually what I'm asking. That's what I want to.
That's impossible for me to answer. I mean, I assume yes, because I was so young. But
You don't
like,
remember? I guess.
Pre-K?
Dave, do you have to take
No.
naps? Did you take naps?
I did not know.
Okay.
I remember we had like dark, quiet time in kindergarten. Like it was
Did
just
you
like,
take
all
naps
right,
in kindergarten? Okay.
we're turning the lights out. Everyone's heads on the desk. 20 minutes. or
Oh,
whatever it
okay.
was.
So, all right. So I guess this must be a throwback to olden times.
I was
'cause-
gonna say no. I was gonna say Vietnam is actually different. So in kindergarten, we definitely had mandatory nap time. We had to all take a nap
we have
for
that
like
now.
yeah,
I could
right.
totally
Yes.
totally
Yeah.
embrace that now.
Why
Um,
is it only a children's thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we get a 2 hour nap, I think, or no,
2
an hour
hours?
no, it was an hour nap. It was from class end at 12, and then you get 12 to 1 for lunch, or 12 to 12:30 for lunch, and then
Excuse me.
12:30 till 2 for napping. Like an
Dang.
hour and a half. Yeah, we got, but to be fair, the hours for school in Vietnam was a lot longer. So it
Still
was like
6:30 at
yeah, sometime. But realistically, we get off of school at 5:30 in the afternoon after being there at
Wow.
7. Yeah. So
You just got a
Yeah.
Vietnamese siesta.
yeah. Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Good
we
band-
need somebody to
good band
verify
name,
all
by
these
the way.
facts, right?
That would be a good band name.
Yeah.
Vietnamese siesta. I like it.
So that continued all the way from into 5th grade too, but 5th grade was weird. Like from 1st to 5th grade, it was weird. Like it's an option to take a nap at school, or you can go home and just chill and take a nap at your house and then go back to school afterwards.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like if kids who live further away from the school, their parents would pay extra for them to have school lunches. And once they finish their lunch, the teacher, this is insane. Nap time is so popular, or like it's such a mandatory thing in Vietnam. Our tables open into a bed that you can sleep on.
No,
Like,
I'm gonna have to look this up online.
I'm not even
Tony, we're
kidding.
gonna have to link some Vietnamese nap
yeah.
beds.
I'm not trolling right now. Like, so the table is weird. Like, it's it's a metal desk, but at the top you have
Like a
kind of
desk
like
futon, man.
yeah, pretty much. So you have 2 layer of wood on top of your table, and essentially it opens up like this. And so the chair is behind the table, and that's the support beam for the table behind you to put the wooden platform on.
This
So
is
then it folds
insane.
into
Hold
one
on.
another.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
I gotta
it's-
share this. This is wild.
Oh, you found it? I told you. It's a real thing.
First of
Yeah.
all, cool concept. Second of all, the most uncomfortable napping table that I've ever seen.
But
Trust,
dude, you
man.
get to stretch out and they got pillows.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. Yeah, it's cool. Like, and those kids will sleep and drool all over those pillows. I know it because my friend did it. Yeah, it's insane. So that was
Okay, so how up until what grade are you taking naps on these things?
so
this is amazing.
So I didn't get these tables. So when I was in 1st to 5th grade, because I lived next to the school, I ended up just going home.
You
during
went home and
lunchtime.
slept in your bed.
Yeah, like a cool kid that I am. Yeah, I go home, eat lunch, then I kind of just lay in bed, or I'll play video games until it's time to go back to class.
Mr. KFC birthday had a
Yeah,
real
yeah,
bed at
exactly.
nap time.
I had it good.
Not like
What can
these
I say?
freaking plebes sleeping
Yeah.
on a freaking desk.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
but still,
Poverty
though, man.
calling. Hello.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
man! To be able to sleep on that's
yeah,
amazing.
but-
That's-
Okay, but then I'll say this. So
until what grade though?
So that was so I came over here for 7th grade. So 6th grade was when it kind of stopped for me. But 6th grade was different. So because I kind of lived further away from the school, my parents paid for me to have school lunches, which sucks compared to the 1st to 5th grade which is elementary school lunches. Sixth grade lunch sucks terribly. And then when you go up to class, it's nice now because the bed's still there, like the beds open up, and we have air conditioning. So it's not hot like those kids had it. So we actually have cool, cool air blowing. But the only difference is the girls get to sleep on the desk, and the boys got like these wooden like panel thing that they kind of just lay on the floor, and then with the pillow you'll just lay there. Or if you want to, you can bring your own pillow to school.
I was gonna say, where'd the pillow come from?
So the school provide you with pillows, and they wash it and everything for you too, which is super nice. But I'm picky, and I'm Mr. KFC birthday boy over here. I brought my own pillow.
But you could. That was an option.
Mm-hmm. And so, so all the girls laid together on the table, and then all the boys were laying on the floor. But I'll tell you one story that scarred me to this day. So one time I was taking a nap at school in sixth grade, and it was a really good nap. It was like once it was time to wake up, the teachers just kind of flick on the lights, and then everyone just kind of have to get up or whatever. One time the light got flicked on, and I was just so sleepy. I was so tired. I was just like, I'm just going to keep rolling around until they start rolling up all the mats or whatnot, and then I'll get up. So then I started hearing like, I still snooze to this day. So me. So I started hearing like girls screaming, like they're just like, ew, ew, and whatnot. And they were just screaming. And I'm just so tired at this point. I didn't care. And then I find out that there was a cockroach crawling around, and I kid you not, it crawled on my face while I was laying there. I was just so tired at that point that I picked it up with my hand and put it up the wall, and it just crawled off of my hand and kept crawling up the wall. And then I was just like, I woke up. I was like, what did I just do? So I ran to the bathroom, washed my face and whatnot, then went back to class. But it was like all the girls in the class was like, what? Like, it was like, shout out to you for not being scared. I was like, I'll say this though, Vietnamese have this weird like taboo or rumor where if a cockroach land on you, you're gonna get money, because it's like it's so rare for a cockroach to just land on a person that if they land on you, you're gonna somehow find money or get money.
So Winston's a baller.
Yeah, pretty much. And so like, yeah, I told all the girls, I was like, I mean, it's whatever. I'll probably like, get some money for it. And they're like, oh, okay. But yeah, so that was my nap time story in Vietnam.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
that's why the other countries do better than America. They get
we got to start lobbying for these desks.
No, literally, right?
In offices.
Yeah, literally, bring it back.
Yeah, you want productivity to skyrocket? There you go, man.
America is the only place where it's like, oh, you only get 30 minutes for lunch. My cousin who worked at a company in Vietnam gets such a long break that he could literally take a nap at work if he wanted to.
I know in Japan, like if you are caught sleeping at work, you're not penalized or reprimanded at all, because it's seen as like, oh, you're working so hard that you're sleeping here.
Yeah.
Never mind that I was up till 3 a.m. partying.
Yeah.
I'm working hard.
I mean, have you seen those like Japanese like salarymen, Brian? They work so hard, and then they just go and party afterwards, to the point where they're in full suits with their suitcase and everything, and they're just passing out in the middle of the street. It's insane. And people just leave them there. It's so crazy.
If they put those desk beds in the street, they'd be better off.
Man, yeah. At Disney, if you got caught sleeping when you were on the clock at Disney, you got fired immediately. No questions asked.
Yeah, well, you don't mess with the mouse, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the mouse was Vietnamese, it would have been different.
Good grief, man. That's amazing. I had no idea you got to sleep on your desks as a child.
Yeah. Exactly. Sleeping on desks as a child just sounds so insane to think about.
I mean, did you come over here and were like, I don't get nap time? What's going on?
Yeah. I was just like, well, this sucks. But I was like, I guess the trade-off is I get to go home early enough. But it's like, even then,
that's true.
I didn't get to go home early because I got put in aftercare a lot because my brother was just busy working, so he couldn't pick me up anyway. It did sucks because going from like a place where you're so like not overworked, but like they teach you so much and like overstudy you that like you're just like, I guess nap time is all right because they're like beating the shit out of us, which by the way is quite literally a thing, because if you get a question wrong, they will slap you with a ruler.
Good callback.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap us up here soon. Before I do, while we've got Dave, any stories you'd like to tell with your time on the podcast? Would you like to set any of the record straight from my stories?
Tony's inaccuracies.
Right. Do you have any nap time story like I did?
Well, listen, do you have anything to embarrass me? I guess I'll throw it out there.
At what point did you think Tony's Disney obsession might
was
be
too much?
Probably, yeah, might be a little bit too much.
Maybe whenever I saw, he's like, look at all my popcorn buckets. I was like, that's a lot of popcorn buckets.
When did you notice that Disney became an obsession for Tony? I guess that's a really good one.
It's probably after him and his wife got married. Like once they went down there and then started going a lot more. But we've watched Disney since we were little kids. So I think it was just now I have money to go do this more than anything.
Okay. So
I get it. I get it. Yeah.
If you live closer, would you probably develop a similar habit? I guess it's
if I had the money to do it, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I worked there, so I understand it from like a different level, but like I totally get it. And I definitely appreciate what the parks have to offer, but it's just it's cool seeing it from someone who's an enthusiast rather.
To be fair though, like I mean, like that's just Tony, like interest. So it's different. Like, like Tony liked to put his money towards Disney trip. And I like to put more money towards computer parts and Dune buckets. You know what I mean? Like Dune popcorn buckets is my new interest.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
I'm concerned about that.
We all are.
Don't worry about it.
Dune popcorn buckets and lubrication.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like it's fair. Like it's like once you start making money and you're like, well, I haven't afford to do this.
I haven't used this term on the podcast because I do believe it's a slightly disparaging term. It's not going to be Disney adult. Don't worry. Dink.
Oh, I thought.
Dink.
Yeah,
the dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
I guess it's not disparaging because it's a
fair term.
It is a fair term.
Yeah.
It's kind of used as it's slightly disparaging or derogatory, but I don't think it should be, or I don't think it is. But when I worked at Disney, there was one day I was riding the bus in I worked at the Magic Kingdom and you had to park your car. And this was crazy about Disney. You parked your car and then you had to take then a bus from the parking lot because the parking lot was so freaking far away from the park that then would take you towards we're talking Magic Kingdom only, from where you parked to this sort of drop-off point. And then from the drop-off point, you had to then walk through down into the labyrinth of tunnels to where you then clocked in.
The utilidors.
Yeah, so you go that way. So in Disney's credit, they gave you 20 minutes to account for that. They paid you for 20 minutes, essentially like walk time,
Sounds
to get
pretty nice.
to and from your destinations. It took more than 20 minutes, but it at least showed that like they agreed that like, okay, it does take a minute to get to the point where you can clock in for work. There was one day I was riding in the bus to that point where I was sitting next to a person on the bus who looked like way too freaking excited to be there. And this was a relatively new person who was there, regular job. And he asked me what I did, and I told him what I did, and he was just like super excited about that. I was like, "So what do you do at Disney?" And he's like, "I sell, can't remember if it was cotton candy or balloons on Main Street." And this dude was so freaking psyched that he sold, let's say, I think it was balloons. He sold balloons on Main Street. He was freaking elated that he was going to do his job and sell balloons on Main Street and like love Disney that much. The fact that he was doing that. And I was like, it gave me a different perspective on like, okay, like, so, for some people, this job is like awesome. I loved my job there, but I didn't have it. I didn't have the like absolute love for the park that this guy did. And I think having worked there and then talking to Tony and hearing his excitement about the parks, I kind of regain that and see that from that perspective of like, man, it is pretty cool. It's a shit ton of money. Don't get me wrong, but man, they do provide some amazing entertainment that you can't get elsewhere.
I was gonna say, it's your viewpoint on it. I mean, first of all, if I got to stand anywhere holding that amount of balloons, I don't know how I couldn't be happy. Second of all, you throw me in the middle of the park and then you just become another like icon. It's just like, you're big. Everyone knows where you're at because you're holding,
you're right there.
Balloons.
You're one of the first people
you see.
See. And then your job is just to create joy for children the moment they step in the park.
Yeah.
As you sell them balloons. It's like, that's pretty cool if you take it with that
Yeah, and by talking to that person on the way in, it kind of did. Is one of those things that sort of like realigns your perspective of like, hey, okay, that's a much better way to look at it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, Disney within itself is like one of the best places to be. I mean, it is the happiest place on earth.
Well, no.
Type in angry Disney dad, and I'm sure you'll find the opposite.
Disneyland is the happiest place on earth. Disney World is the most magical place on earth.
Oh, most magical place on earth, right? But I'll say like the only thing that makes me like don't really want to go to Disney is how crowded it is.
Hey man, I'm trying my best to get us a Disney sponsorship, Tony. Come on now.
I know.
Not anymore, man.
Okay, so I'll say this. Fun fact, we're talking Disney and balloons. Disney's Animal Kingdom at Disney World, because there's animals all over the place. It's the one park there that does not sell balloons. And in fact, if you've popped from another park and have brought a balloon, as you go in, they'll ask you to go to guest services. There's actually what they call balloon daycare. And they tag your balloon. They put it back in the room, and whenever you leave, you go back and you pick up your balloon.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that.
In my head was the moment you crosses the gate, they just go.
I was waiting. I was actually, Winston, I was one step further. I was waiting for them to send you to guest services. So that was somebody's job to then do it with
just one guy. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you gotta go ahead and line.
I got earplugs. I love my freaking job.
Back to the regularly scheduled outro. Thank you for listening. Please rate and subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss out on new episodes.
Special thanks to our guest Dave. Dave, it's awesome. It's awesome to have you here.
Thanks for joining us, Dave. Tell other friends. Make more friends of the podcast. Send us an email. We got an email. It's podcastxyzxwhyz@gmail.com. You can visit us on Instagram. We put out news there. We put out the podcast on YouTube. We occasionally put things on TikTok. We also got merch. Dave here.
Repping
the merch. You too could be repping the show. You can go to our home on the web to find our store, Winston's Watch and Listen list that continues to grow, and a variety of other things. You can find that at podcastxyz.podbean.com. We will see everybody next time.
Thanks for joining us.
See ya.